My main job is as a makeup effects artist for film and television, so that means building everything from creature suits to old age prosthetics, zombies, and specialty costumes, things like Iron Man suits and Gears of War 4 armor. I got into it when I was a kid. I was like 15, and I saw Star Wars and I wanted to be Boba Fett, and then I saw much to the dismay of many people, I fell in love with Jango Fett from Clone Wars, even though most people don't acknowledge those films. But started being interested in armor and costuming then, and then ended up falling into makeup effects right out of high school. I know this is super cheesy, but I feel like the reason that I love costumes and armor is that, like a lot of us who grew up as geeky dork kids in a time before it was cool, it was a way to sort of be somebody else and to just play in a world that there was no limitations on. So for me, costumes and characters, makeup, it's just about being able to play, and that's such a beautiful thing. I know that if there was a character I was going to like build, put on a mannequin and put in my house, it'd be Tyrael from Diablo 3, for sure. Because he's just like the unbridled justice in the most badass form. I mean, there's no way around it. He's freaking awesome. Working especially with video game companies, translating characters into a real, tangible character, it can be difficult, but it all starts with taking the sort of core of what makes that character them and figuring out, what is it that you have to keep a hold of. You fill in the gaps that everybody sees in their head, but it can be difficult because you're limited to working with what another team of people have already dedicated so much time and effort into. You really have to be true to their vision and not just your own. The number one thing people don't realize about the Kate Diaz costume is how many teeny tiny custom pieces are on it. JD was a much bigger, more grandiose looking character, bigger armor, but he was much more simple. Kate had pouches with metal bits that light up, and she has all these little buckles and straps, and her whole chest piece is sort of just a floating, nightmare of engineering feats. So it looks really simple. I think most people would look at the Kate costume and be like, that's easy. But I think most people will find once you get your hands in it, you realize that there's so much to it, and it's a much deeper, in-depth costume than you might realize at first. I would say the most fun thing about this career in general is that I get up at 5 in the morning and I get to work at 6, and I work sometimes till 6, 7, 8 p.m. Sometimes I don't even go home, but I never dread going to work. It doesn't matter what kind of career you're in. It doesn't matter if it's creative. If you love what you do, every day, your worst day at work is somebody else's best day at a job they hate. For me, just doing what I love is reward enough to keep going in for 14, 16 hours a day. One of the coolest projects that I've gotten to work on as a makeup artist is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Worked on that for 6 months with Legacy Effects team out of LA, and worked with 20 amazing artists, and we got to make aliens and creatures and all kinds of amazing things, which as a makeup artist is sort of a dream come true. Over the last 5 years, we've seen a huge surge of cosplayers and sort of amateur hobbyist crafters arise in both online social media and conventions. And I think it's a really great thing, because I feel like for the first time in a long time, people feel like if they want to be creative, they can. So seeing people at home who are lawyers, doctors, flight attendants, waiters at a restaurant, being able to go home and create works of art, it's a beautiful thing. If I had one piece of advice for aspiring costume or makeup artists, it would be to just soak up the amount of inspirations out there. Revel in how many people are better than you, and take comfort in knowing that every failure you have is going to be a success the next time around, because as an artist, the best piece of art you'll ever make is yourself. And the better you make yourself, your art will just follow behind you.